Now, some breaking news to bring you. It concerns Rodri, and Dames Sheth is in the studio for us to react to this. Dames, what can you tell us?
Yeah, remember, Rodri, Manchester City's talismanic midfielder, into the final year of his contract at the Etihad. Manchester City desperate to tie him down to a longer-term contract. Well, Real Madrid are spotting an opportunity here because we know they've been interested for a while, and they are expected now to make their move formal. They're expected to go in with a formal bid sooner rather than later for the Spain's World Cup captain and, of course, the player who was voted the best player at the World Cup. We understand that there has been initial contact between both clubs ahead of what we expect to be a formal offer from Real Madrid. What do we think Real Madrid want to pay? Well, they see Rodri as having, into the final year of his contract. So in the open market, if he was, 3 or 4 years left on his contract, you'd expect a figure of £100 million plus, given the profile of the player. However, we think that Real Madrid are prepared to pay between 43 and 51 million pounds. Whether that is going to cut any ice with Manchester City is another matter. But from Manchester City's perspective, they do not want Rodri to leave. They want him to form part of the immediate future under Enzo Maresca. Enzo Maresca wants him in the team, and they want him to sign a new contract at the Etihad. However, this is where it's going to get interesting, because Real Madrid clearly want to bring in Rodri. When Florentino Perez was re-elected as the president of Real Madrid, one of the criticism aimed towards Real Madrid and Perez, I guess, was the lack of Spanish contingent in that Real Madrid squad. They've since bought Marc Cucurella, and I think everyone at Real Madrid, the board and the new manager, certain Jose Mourinho, would be behind a deal that would bring Rodri from Manchester City to Real Madrid. Long way to go yet, but the information we are getting at the moment is that there has been initial contact between Real Madrid and Manchester City over Rodri, and we are expecting Real Madrid to make that interest formal in the form of a bid, which we expect to be between 43 and 51 million pounds.
Real Madrid are preparing a move that could shake Manchester City's new era before it has begun, and the figure being discussed may leave Premier League fans stunned. Rodri, City's midfield controller, Spain captain, and one of football's most influential players, is entering the final year of his contract at the Etihad. City want him to stay. Enzo Maresca wants him at the heart of his team, but Real Madrid believe this could be the moment to test just how strong Manchester City's position really is. Reports suggest contact has taken place, with Madrid now expected to formalise their interest soon. And here is the first twist. The proposed offer is nowhere near the £100 million plus fee normally associated with a player of Rodri's quality. Instead, Real Madrid are reportedly considering a bid between £43 million and £51 million. At first glance, that sounds almost impossible. This is a player capable of controlling the biggest matches, protecting a defence, breaking pressure, and deciding games from midfield. With several years remaining on his deal, Manchester City could demand an enormous fee. But Madrid are not negotiating with a normal situation. They are looking at the contract clock. Rodri's deal is approaching its final year, meaning City could face a dangerous choice: reject the offer and risk the player moving closer to a free transfer, or negotiate now and lose the man many supporters see as the balance of the entire team. That is why this is more serious than a routine transfer rumour. Manchester City's position is clear. They do not want to sell. The club hope Rodri will sign a new long-term contract, and Maresca reportedly considers him central to the immediate future. After Pep Guardiola's departure, City are entering a new chapter, and losing their midfield organiser would create a huge problem before the new manager has fully installed his system. However, Real Madrid can offer something City cannot: a return to Spain, the Bernabeu stage, and the chance to become the face of a more Spanish core in Madrid's squad. Florentino Perez has faced questions about the shortage of leading Spanish players at Real Madrid, Marc Cucurella's arrival has begun to change that picture, but Rodri would be on another level. He would not simply be another signing, he could become the centrepiece of Madrid's midfield and a symbol of their next era. Jose Mourinho is also believed to support the idea. A midfielder with Rodri's intelligence, strength and control would fit a team expected to compete immediately for every major trophy. But there is another twist that could decide everything. Madrid's opening number may not be designed to complete the deal. It may be designed to expose Manchester City's weakness. If City instantly reject £43 million to £51 million, Madrid can wait and allow the pressure to grow. Every week without a new contract makes City's negotiating position more uncomfortable. But if City begin discussing the price, it could signal that they are no longer completely confident Rodri will extend. The most important person in this story, therefore, is not Perez, Mourinho or Maresca. It is Rodri. If he tells City that he wants to remain in Manchester, Madrid's plan could collapse quickly. City would gain confidence, talks over a new contract could accelerate, and the low opening offer would mean very little. But if Rodri hesitates, or privately indicates that he is open to the move, the balance changes immediately. City would then have to decide whether to keep a potentially unsettled player for one final season or sell while they can still receive a significant fee. Madrid, meanwhile, could remain patient, knowing the contract situation is working in their favour. And this is why the reported £43 million to £51 million figure should not be dismissed as unrealistic. It is not necessarily Madrid's valuation of Rodri's ability. It is a valuation of City's time, risk and bargaining power. For Manchester City supporters, the next development will be crucial. A new contract would end the speculation and give Maresca the midfield leader he needs. A formal bid, however, would turn a rumour into a genuine transfer battle. So, is this simply Real Madrid testing the water? Or are we watching the beginning of one of the biggest moves of the summer? Because if Rodri decides his future lies in Madrid, Manchester City may discover that replacing him is far more difficult than rejecting the first offer.